On the big story this morning, we put our focus on crime preventers in this country. Back then, the IGP did tell us there are about 11 million in this country. And there's been a lot of talk about crime preventers. There are those that will tell you they have tried in certain areas to ameliorate crime. You know, when they are on the lookout, those that want to do evil are put away. But there are others that will tell you these guys are not crime preventers, they actually are crime promoters. And there's talk about so many different things, the training that they got, and now they are seemingly redundant. Are they not the guys who are meting out violence and all these different things? But also, given that crime prevention was pretty much bolstered by General Kale Kaihura, he's now out, and some folks think these guys are going with him. So this morning on The Big Story, we talked to the National Coordinator of Crime Preventers to help us understand some of these things. Blaise Kamugisha. Good morning.
Morning, Joe.
How are you?
Good.
I expected you would come in with a lot of security and so on. I understand, you know, you're guarded like a very powerful man, that you have a gun. I hope you didn't walk in with a gun here and all those different things.
Those are just exaggerated stories. I'm not armed. I'm just a normal, ordinary Ugandan. I don't need any security for what.
All right, so you're the National Coordinator of Crime Preventers. How did you become National Coordinator? Were you elected? Were you appointed?
No, not appointed. I was elected as a team leader. We have national assemblies every year. So the national assembly is constituted of sub-county district coordinators, and the crime prevention being the leadership structure being a coordination structure, where my role is just that I'm a team leader and I coordinate at a national level with the rest of the structures across the country.
Yeah, I was just trying to understand how you came into that position. So you said you are elected by
the National Assembly of...
and who constitutes that National Assembly?
The sub-county coordinators and district coordinators.
And how did those coordinators come to be coordinators? Were they appointed? Were they elected?
No. They are elected at the village level. We have village coordinators, so village coordinators sit and get sub-county coordinators.
So are you saying a village comes together? Because you're trying to look at this structure and how it gets to form. Are you saying villagers in a village A come together and they decide, let's elect?
Yes.
When did those elections happen? I don't remember being called to
of
vote.
Course,
yet I would have wanted to participate.
No, these elections happen. Of course, if you're actively engaged at the community level, you would get to know.
And you're saying people voted?
Yes, there's voting.
Anyway, so you guys have been around for some time. How many are you for starters? General Kaihura told us before elections that you're 11 million. We thought, is he sure of what he's saying? How many are you, the national coordinator? You would know?
We are 11 million.
Where are those 11 million crime preventers?
They exist in our everyday communities.
So how do you know there are 11 million? Have you enumerated them?
We have a scientific database of every member, where they come from, their contacts. These people that you can talk to and they respond as crime preventers. Of course, the question is, if you're asking where are they? Not necessarily that all the 11 million might be active crime preventers. Amongst them, some might be active, some not active. And but in terms of database registration and showing the interest and willingness, we have the 11 million members. So it's our responsibility to activate all the 11 million, which is of course work that it's gradual.
So who is a crime preventer?
A crime preventer is an ordinary person in a respective community who has safety of life and property as a priority, and they actively engage with the security agency, security structures within their areas of residence. They coordinate, provide information, and they are on alert.
The question we keep asking ourselves, and it's a question we put to police too, but with specificity to crime preventers, there was a lot of recruitment, especially just before elections. And at the passing out, the president attended many of the pass outs of crime preventers. Many of these people that you lead were clad in the Museveni yellow shirts, you know, thumbs up, it looked like a rally at the times that he was passing out some of these. And we ran the stories, we have got the footage, and we kept thinking, are these crime preventers? Are these people that are being sent out by the NRM to either look for votes or to make sure the NRM gets re-elected? Because we had lots of stories, especially during elections, you know, how they were commandeering polling stations and how they were intimidating people. I want to imagine you got those reports too. And you kept thinking, are these guys crime preventers of everybody, or are these people that have been sent out to do NRM work?
No, of course it was a coincidence that the program was more active. It collided with the election period, but the program had been ongoing, and it had already been given attention in any case. But because elections came in, still the program, actually the elections caused more necessity because they required more manpower. You expected a lot, there was a lot of tense during election time. So we required these crime preventers. And about the NRM t-shirts and all that, first of all, crime prevention is a presidential program. The president embraced it.
But it should be non-partisan.
It is the president is non-partisan. The president, as it is non-partisan as a person.
Yeah, but you see now, those, they were embodying a partisan character when they wear NRM t-shirts and signing, and literally, it looked like a campaign rally.
There was misrepresentation from the media. I saw the story. It was one of the stories I saw.
Are you saying we went on our computers and we forged and did Photoshop or what?
I think there was a pass out to NRM cadres somewhere.
No, that's not true. There were several crime preventer pass outs, which we covered.
But in any case,
and a number of them were like political rallies.
But even in any case, we have crime preventers ultimately who support the president, and we don't have capacity to give them uniforms or to give them t-shirts of crime prevention. So they have a right to put on whatever they think they can dress up with, and if someone comes with an NRM t-shirt, there's no use saying now that makes the whole program partisan.
Is that not a problem? Because you see, we would expect that your work should be objective, akin to what police does, even though your mandate is lesser than that of police. But you see, when we see the infiltration of party politics, we are thinking, what exactly is the role of these guys? Why is it that they were especially out there beating opposition politicians at rallies? And so that's when police would deploy them a great deal. And we kept thinking, are these ones real crime preventers or opposition preventers?
No, but the crime preventers, I know, first of all, they don't do active police work.
What's their mandate?
They act as an information structure which feeds into the mainstream police. Meaning the police cannot be everywhere, but these crime preventers are everywhere, so they are not alert. They provide any information to the police in case there's anything. And they don't do police work. Police work is taken go and it is left to trained police personnel.
But we saw them arresting people in many different cases.
There has to be...
I know there's such a thing as citizen arrest. You're a lawyer, right?
Yes.
And so, yeah, even as a citizen, I can arrest.
Exactly.
You see, if crime preventers go to people's homes with guns, some of them, we understand,
no, they are not armed
people.
And
we run those stories.
That is
that
is another misunderstanding, that crime preventers are armed. Crime preventers are not armed. Like I told you, they're just ordinary citizens. And whoever is armed, I would think really that has to be that has to be with a sort of from the police, but not even to arm a civilian, because that has its own procedure, how a civilian is armed. But again, if there is to be any operation to be conducted with police officers, that has to be done with the guidance of the command on ground, not crime preventers doing operations independently of the police.
You see, like you said, that there was a lot of recruitment during the election season to help out because police force is a lean force, 45,000, and so it needed support. But you see, after that, the crime preventers seemed redundant, and these are people that have been taken through some kind of training, and so they have good skills, and they seem to be redundant now. And there has been a general concern. Are these not the guys that are meting out violence? We keep hearing of cases and reporting on cases of people that have been robbed, people that have been beaten. Quite a bit of criminality that is happening. And it's not criminality by an ordinary fellow. There is a bit of skill and so on. And so there's concern of, wait a minute, could this not be part of the group that was, highly skilled and trained, and now they're out there without anything to do, and they're probably trying to eke out a living?
No, after the elections, of course, we continued with streamlining and streamlining the program. And you see, when we talk about crime prevention, this is necessarily what you've just been talking about. You're talking about crime prevention, meaning you're looking at the cause of crime. Now, of course, ordinarily, we are talking about young people. Majority of them, there is unemployment, like you said, most of them are not working. And we have been trying to organize how do we are looking at the economics of it. How do we get these people employed? How do we get them something to do? How do we get them active economically? And that of course, unemployment is a big elephant. You eat piece by piece. We began with organization. Now we are looking at how do we have been looking at how do we feed them with tools of production. Those ones who have land, how do you help them? How do you link them with the available government programs, for example? Those ones who qualify under operational risk creation, they feed into that. Those ones, young people who qualify under youth livelihood, you feed them into that. If they are women, under women fund, like that. Because there is no specific budget for them in any case. It is a voluntary project.
The president had promised that he would give them some money, circles and all of that for their income generating activities.
Yes,
Has that
and
happened
the
since?
president has been supportive. Of course,
How so?
Instructions have been passed that majority of these government programs I'm talking about, crime prevention should be made a priority. In any case, they're already doing something. And of course, there are many, like you said. There are many, they have to also coexist with already existing programs. And we are still looking at how we streamline that to make sure all of them are benefiting.
All right, it's good you're a lawyer. Let's talk about the legal dynamics of this animal called crime prevention. Ideally, any ordinary citizen should be on the lookout.
True.
Where I stay, I should be on the lookout. If
Very
I see
true.
somebody that is unfamiliar or they are doing something that is not ordinary,
Very true.
I should be on the alert.
True.
Probably ask questions
Very
or
true.
call in authorities or that kind of thing.
Very true.
In so doing, I'm crime preventing or preventing crime
Very
for
true.
that
Very
matter.
true.
But when you have an outfit that is organized, that is trained and so on, you're thinking, okay, now this is getting to another level. What's the legal provision for these fellows? Who regulates them? How are they regulated? What law regulates them? Who calls them to order? And all those questions are still unanswered.
Of course, that has been the challenge apparently. Whereas we have the general provisions, which like the ones we are talking about, that police or security can work with the general population. But again, the regulation part of it. And apparently, the minister the other day was, when they had a police council, there was the same things, the same call came up that they are trying to draft a policy on the regulation of crime prevention as a program itself. And I would think that one is going to spell out most of these. It will solve a lot of the questions. It would answer a lot of questions which are coming from the public.
So we have an outfit that has been in operation for quite a bit of time, 11 million like you say, but there's no policy guiding them and so on.
Yeah,
Isn't that a
of course-
problem? Because we seem to be shooting first and aiming later. First run and then you begin planning. I thought it should be the other way around.
No,
First plan, first aim, and then shoot.
Both things have been running concurrent simultaneously. Yes, the program is being built up from scratch. This is really an original idea. It is not that you get from a book and paste on ground. It's an original, that it has been a revolutionary idea built originally from here, fitting the basics of the community. And the meaning we have built a lot of input has come practically from the ground. And whatever is going to be put in that document is going to be reflective of what is happening on ground, which I think is better than really writing than before implementing. It would, I would think, serve better. We would have a better policy coming from the reality of what is actually on ground than come out with a policy out of imagination and thinking without practically having experimented it.
General Kale Kaihura, who was your patron or your...
No,
I
actually,
don't know what you want to
the
call
patron
it.
is the president.
Okay, there you are. But pretty much, General Kale Kaihura was running. He began, I don't know whether it was his idea, but he really put it off ground.
True.
And he ran with it, ensured there was training for you people and all these different
Because
things.
he was the IGP. That was his
Because he
role.
was the IGP.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of concern among his colleagues in police. Some of them did not speak out publicly, but quietly they would tell us, now they're beginning to speak out, publicly. There's been concern, even from the current IGP, because it looked like a Kaihura agenda. That is why many times police was not even too sure what you guys were doing. But the boss had said, these guys must be around, and they've got to keep doing a couple of things, yeah? The man is now out. Are you people like a man with feet of clay?
No, but
Wobbly and unfirm? What happens to you people now?
no, of course, like you earlier mentioned, and like I said earlier, crime prevention is a presidential program, meaning it has the blessing of the president. You saw him on different parts of yourself. You mentioned it. You had him giving different ideas, He has had input in much of the work that we have done, and the IGP, General Kale was the IGP, and he had a responsibility on his part of policing to make sure he's tapping into this effort, he's tapping into this basket of young people who are available and willing to do under the concept of community policing, which was really what they are supposed to be doing. And whether he's there as a person or not, still the program has to go on, because it was not a necessity for him as an individual, it was a necessity for the institution of police. As the institution of Uganda Police, and therefore I don't think that necessity has ceased to exist. They will still need people to work with.
Have you spoken to the new IGP or the new establishment?
No, we of course, we weren't in a hurry. They are swearing in. I think they're having a handover some few days from now. And we think that after that, the handover, we can now formally engage the new structure. But we have congratulated them. We have tried to reach out to them because we are indeed part of the police family. And we are okay with the changes. We are very happy about the changes. These are normal changes in the system. They happen every day, so there is nothing to make noise on.
I don't know how much engagement you have had with the citizenry generally, because many times there's been a cry from people, at least those we interact with, those we have engaged with, and they have been concerned about crime preventers. The modus operandi, that sometimes your people are high-handed. They want to operate like police officers, and they're not police officers. There's no law that mandates them. Because you see, if a police officer comes to me, for example, and they want to arrest me, ideally I should give in. If I don't, they'll exercise a bit of force to take me. And then the law has provisions for that to an extent. Of course, sometimes they get out of hand and overdo it, but there's provision within the law. But on your part, there's no provision within the law. And so people have been seeing you guys trying to operate like police officers, sometimes wearing police t-shirts, and they're not too sure how to deal with you. There's a time we ran a clip, some people were saying, these guys, if they come back, we are going to deal with them. And I thought, okay, wait a minute. And the reason they're saying that is because they know there's no proper legal provision for you people. And yet you want to operate like you have the mandate of the law to do whatever it is that you want. And yet my expectation would be that, look, you are working with the communities. We want to do this together. And so you reach out to them and say, guys, how do we do this together? You are the people that live here. Can we work with you? And that has not quite happened. It is of, we are coming here, we are coming to fix things and to fix you perhaps alongside with that.
Of course, I don't want to say that all is fine. Within the crime preventers, we have this, and the program being that we need to do a lot of, I agree with you, we still need to do a lot of ideological engagement. We need to do a lot of sensitization about the program, what they expected of, all that. At times that has not happened. They have done things outside the norm, what is expected of them, or they have misunderstood the concept. They have misunderstood the concept, think maybe they are supposed to behave like policemen. But we are trying our best to engage, to reach out, to explain what the program is about, what is expected of you. And there is improvement. It's just a gradual process. You know, the program has not yet, it is roughly 2, 3, 4 years actively in place. So you expect those small mistakes here and there. But there are also a lot of good things that really have taken place out of the few mistakes that
What are some of those good things?
You began with the election. We had a peaceful election, and you've had really the police made even it more clear that they had assistance of the crime preventers all over the country. We reached everywhere. There was vigilance everywhere, and the election was peaceful.
We had several other reports of violence, of people being beaten and intimidated, and fingers were pointing to crime preventers.
I don't know if the beating was in the necessity of keeping peace, but
also if the beating is in the necessity of keeping peace, is it allowed then? But
But
law allows you crime preventers to beat people because you're trying to keep peace.
What I'm trying to say is, I don't. When you say beating, of course, I also need to receive such reports of beating, because, of course, for election you expect unbalanced information coming up. Who was beaten, who pending on what? NRM beats FDC, like that. If that must be the level of violence you're talking about. But on the part of the crime preventer is to harmonize both parties, not again to beat, of course, to harmonize both parties. And I would think that must be the report, the information that was coming in. Not that the crime preventer is bouncing on an innocent voter. It is that there is a problem, friction somewhere, and the crime preventer is harmonizing both parties. And among the achievements, crime has gone low in most of the communities because there is vigilance, minus what is being
Is that so? What do you base that on? Because the police report that was released, which came much later, it shows a different situation altogether. I don't know if you looked at that report. So when you say crime has gone lower, what do you mean?
No,
what are you
in
using
most of the
to
areas,
justify that?
The crime rate has, of course, it is scientific. We say the reports came out, even based on the report. Even the police was open about it, explaining that the rural crime preventers had prayed in in making sure there is the rates of crime went low, and in terms of feeding, for example, police with information, in terms of assisting police, in terms supplementing with the police manpower, that has been the role of crime preventers, and even a lot more at a local level that we can talk about.
All right, just let the viewers know you can get in touch with us and do share your thoughts. We're talking about crime preventers this morning. Do you feel they're still necessary? If so, how do we help them serve us better? Because ideally they should be serving the community. How do we make sure that gets to happen? Please, when you call, remember to lessen the volume on your TV set. Actually, turn it to 0. That's the only way we can get to communicate. All right, as we wait for that to happen, you talked about some of them becoming errant and getting out of hand. How do they get called back to order, and by who?
We have a professional standards unit, because we also have expectations.
You have a professional standards unit
a discipline within ourselves, yes. Because we have to regulate at the end of the day. You cannot just get out of order. And if there are complaints that there's a problem with an individual, they are brought to book and the process commences.
What is that? Is it a court? Is it a quasi-judicial
at a local level,
exactly is
where
that?
You have the opinion leaders sitting together, then the police is of course there and to guide, because you see it's community owned, so the community has to be there to regulate. It's the community regulating in this case. There's no special, it's community regulating. Yes, you have the RDC, you have all these people involved at the local level to make sure crime preventers keep, because they are the ones guiding them. They are their children, they know them in and out, so they are the ones guiding them. If they feel they have gone out of norm, they call you back to order.
How is that? Let's say somebody has done something that, is resemblant to a criminal activity or that kind of thing.
They are called in a sitting where possibly there is the police of the area, there is the leadership of the area, RDC, there is the local RC leadership, and then you have the coordinators of crime preventers coming in to sit together and give a way forward. What do we do? And then they take, based on the facts presented, they take action.
Going forward, because you see, ideally, like we have said...
and if someone does something that is really criminal in nature, then of course the route takes nature. You're not exempted. If you go and murder someone, you cannot claim that I was a crime preventer, so I did that. You have committed murder, it's open. The cancer I was talking about is constituted if these are minor, sit over minor issues, if they are minor issues to handle. But assuming whatever act it was, and it was criminal, then the law takes its course.
You see, like we have been saying, our police force is a lean force, 45,000 to 48,000. We have 40 million Ugandans, and so it's important that police gets buttressed, yeah? But importantly, how that gets to be structured, so that it's a clear process which everyone knows about. It's an undeniable procedure, because like I was saying, when a police officer comes to me, I know this is a police officer. True. It's a different situation altogether. But if a crime preventer comes to me, I can choose to say, no, I don't want to talk to you, go away. In fact, you're trespassing on my property, that kind of thing. Going forward, how do we realign this animal called crime preventers such that it fits within the laws that are available? If we need to amend them, maybe, if that can be plausible. But that it is organized, because I see ideally it should be a good cause, yeah? But a good cause which is not very well organized, and so it gets mucked up with a lot of filth and dirt, and even what should be good gets stifled by the not so good.
True. I think, of course, I belong to the school of thought that you're talking about, of how do we organize, not to get away, not to disband or get off the program. And I feel it's a responsibility of all of us who have had a feel of it, and I'm happy you seem to have a lot of wisdom about the program, that we give our different inputs, what we think the program, how we think the program should run. Like I said, this is an organically generated program, ideally from within us. So how do we build it? Where we think there are weaknesses, what should be our recommendations? Where there's strength, so how do we sustain that? And of course, I mean, all of us really, as people from the communities, have a role to play to streamline this good idea, or this good baby called a crime preventer.
Okay, let's listen to what these good people have to say. Hopefully they'll have some advice for you. They engage with these your crime preventers, and they have suffered the good and the bad. Hello, good morning. Okay, I will get to that. There's somebody I saw, a famous person, I'll not mention the name, I don't have their permission, who they were returning to their house in the evening, in the night, and they saw a couple of people. Some of them looked like they were hooded and they were wielding sticks. And then so as they were about to pass with their car, these fellows stopped them and said, "We want to search your car." And this person said, "But who are you? I cannot let you, I mean, you look like you might rob me," or that kind of thing. And they engaged a little bit. And these fellows said, "We are crime preventers," and so on. And then she said, "So what shows you are crime preventers? You know, do you have a letter of sorts or that kind of thing?" And there was a bit of an altercation. Eventually, of course, she didn't let them into her car. I would not if it was me, because I'm thinking, who are these? They look like criminal elements. And so there is that. And there are people now who, in another community altogether, I forget which one, who decided, okay, if we see people that we are not too sure about, because we understand some of them would go to different places even where they are not known, they said, we are going to arrest them. Others will say mob action. It's not even justice, as some people like to think of it as. And so there is that continuous beefing, there is that continuous confusion. What's the remedy to that again?
Now, first of all, crime preventers are supposed to remain in the areas of residence. Meaning, if I'm coming from Chira, I'm supposed to be in Chira. If I'm in village A, I'm supposed to remain in village A, not to go to village B, because village B has its own people. So it's a it becomes a problem that for you, because why would you move from one place to another? What love do you have that? Who's facilitating you first of all to move? Because the idea is that you don't have to spend any money in any case. So you remain in your area of residence where you stay, meaning whatever you see around you is what you're going to report. Now, of course, we have had such. I've also received the same information. Those complaints have come up in public before, but you find there's an area where they called them Arrow Boys, I think from the north. It's around here in Kampala, and it must be the same incident because I also received the same complaint. And apparently these people, of course, they are not known in the community. They are Arrow Boys. They are known by very few people who have brought them up. And you find the community is crying because they stop you. So they come under the disguise of crime preventers, because that's how they want to give them regard and to cover them with a face to be legitimate to the community. So they call them crime preventers, but you find it's a group hired from somewhere else, strangers in that very area, who don't even know the area itself, because you must be knowing the area where you're operating. That's what actually makes you an effective crime preventer. You can't just come from the north and come in Kampala and then begin patrolling. Now what? And again, crime preventers don't have to do, if I'm, for example, at night, that is really more sensitive. If I'm doing, assuming we are doing a group of crime preventers was to do any foot patrols at night, they should do that with the guidance of the police. The commander must be in the know. You can't just, there must be an armed officer moving with you. Unless if you are to move around, you must be linked up with the mainstream police somehow within that area. It can't be that you are independently move, because who are you reporting to?
And so now that you talk about these things, who regulates that? Because it's been happening, they're operating willy-nilly. And here is their boss, so the Observer calling you the crime preventers boss, and you're saying, no, you guys need to be organized. I'm thinking, is there no trickle-down effect? Because you said there are structures which are quite organized and so on. Yes. Or you sit here in Kampala, wherever your office is,
we have the regional
things are happening whichever way down.
We have the regional coordinators, we have the district coordinators, we have the sub-county coordinators, we have the village coordinators. Now, all these structures are operational. That's why when you told me, I was aware of the incident itself, and it must have happened that side of Chira. But when we again went back to the facts, okay, so the facts were somehow different. But of course, you harmonize and come in to sensitize and show the community how it should have been done, or if they're to do patrols, how should they do it. You again bring them together, because you don't have to disorganize the order. But they are leaders of crime preventers in different areas. And if there are any issues, these leaders are known, because in any case they are voted by the public. They are aware, you say this is a coordinator of crime preventers living here, and if there's an issue, it is raised. If there are also complaints, of course, they raise them to the police at the same time, to the police leadership that, you know, we have a problem with crime preventer, why, and we get, it can't happen that the crime preventer can do something wrong and we don't get to know.
You talked about these people, you know, that they're supposed to do this voluntarily and so on. I don't know how entirely true that is. Your people's work is facilitated in a way. Who facilitates it? To what tune? And what does the facilitation look like?
There is no facilitation really to protect ourselves. I'm just being genuine. There is no facilitation to protect ourselves. But assuming there was, if you said maybe there's a function and they want these crime preventers and there's need for transport, of course the police has to provide the transport to bring these crime preventers. Whoever wants them has to provide the transport. If that is a form of facilitation we're talking about. But saying there are handouts given out to go and, because how would you even manage it? Or the 11 million, how would, that has been the bigger challenge. So we think the facilitation should be that these crime preventers should be economically empowered to stand on their own. Because if you have stake in the community, if you have property, if you have farms, if you have you have a stake in the community, you must have stake to protect. You can't also be protecting without a stake in the community. You must own something. You must have an enterprise running. You must be able to earn, and that is, we are trying to think that they should have that economic freedom.
Okay, my time has run quickly. Unfortunately, I've not had time to hear from the viewers. But when you talk about, yeah, they're in the community, they should be empowered and that kind of thing, I'm thinking, because there's many unemployed young people, and so some will seek to join the crime preventers group just because they want to, I don't know, get something from Operation Wealth Creation or whatever the case might be. And so it's very likely you're going to have people that are not out to prevent crime. They're out to, excuse me, make money or, you know, see how they make economic ends meet for themselves.
True.
And that's the problem.
No, to us, like I told you, out of the 11 million, ultimately you have among them those who are very active in terms of providing security, being on the outlook. But at the same time, you have amongst them those characters that have come in, but which helps because you're mobilizing someone who's going to be employed is in, and at the end of the day, even if he doesn't, even if he's not actively involved on a daily basis, but at least he's a part of the team, which is with an ideology of preventing crime. Whether the end result was that he wanted to get something like a project, it is okay. That doesn't really harm in any way. You'll get a project, but at the end of the day, you're part of the bigger team, which is the intention to prevent crime. And that we are mobilizing. You know, it is more like church also. You have to mobilize as many as possible for a good cause. Now, among them, there might be those who have bad intentions, but in the wrong process, you weed them out slowly.
Okay, we are watching to see what happens going forward. You have 11 million people that you're superintending over. I don't know what that is like and how easy it is for you to superintend over them. But hopefully we get to have crime preventers as opposed to crime promoters. Hopefully those can be weeded out. My interest really is to have this very well legitimized, that we have either policy or some legal kind of process that makes sure this is organized. Because right about now, if you come to me, you say you're a crime preventer, you want to search me, I'll say no. And if I am armed, if I am, you know, because some people have arms legally, I can deal with you. I'm thinking you want to probably do me harm or, you know, that kind of thing. So it is all over the place. It's not clear. I hope that's your interest too, that it gets to be well stimulated and organized.
Generally, that is the interest of every crime preventer that I'm speaking in behalf for. We all have an interest to make sure we have a streamlined program, and I see there are already steps being taken towards that direction, and it will not take long before we have a policy in place and a well-intentioned program. What at least we agree, and what I appreciate from you is that the program is well-intentioned. It's a good program. We just need to regulate it. And that should be where our efforts are being directed.
Okay, let's wait and see how things go. Blaise Kamugisha, thank you for talking to us this morning.
Thank you for the opportunity.
That's it for The Big Story. Morning at NTV continues shortly. Good morning.